يا ليلة القدر يا فضل بارنا خير من الدهر بالعفو تاتينا. يا ليلة القدر يا فضل بارنا.
Assalamu alaikum dear viewers, and welcome to the Daily Ramadan show, where we discuss the daily du'as to be recited in this holy month of blessings, mercy and forgiveness. Today we'll be discussing the 11th daily dua, since today is the 11th of Ramadan. And as usual, I'll start with the English translation, I'll continue on with the explanation, and finally I'll recite the Arabic and you, the viewers, will follow. Now, keep in mind that these du'as are not just ways to ask for things from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are to be our goals, our ideals, reminders for what we want to ask from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the values that we want to instill in our lives. So bear in mind that you shouldn't just recite these du'as for just 30 seconds, a minute. Instead, you should understand them, and the values that you get from these du'as, take advantage of them, put them in yourself, instill them in your lives. So today's dua reads, O Allah, on this day. Today's dua reads, O Allah, on this day, make lovable good doing for me, and make abhorrent for me wickedness and disobedience on this day, and prevent me on this day from exposing myself to the wrath and fire. Out of your help, O the aid of the seekers of aid. So in the first line, which is, O Allah, on this day make lovable good doing for me, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, O Allah, I want to like doing good. Keep in my heart the love for doing good and more good. Now, this is a very important attribute that we have to have. See, it's like I've mentioned before the attribute of nobility, where a person who is noble would do good deeds, would love doing good deeds, because it would be an honor for him. He'd do it as if it's an honor. But a person who's not noble would do the same good deeds as if it was a burden. Admit it. Many of us are like that. Yeah, many of us do good deeds with a lot of laziness involved. So in this line, we ask to be noble. Now, I'll mention letter number 69 of Nahjul Balagha, where Imam Ali writes to Harith Hamdan, train yourself to do good deeds with love, not force yourself to do those good deeds. Here, obviously, we're asking that, here, obviously, Imam Ali is saying that you shouldn't force yourself to do the good deeds. You should train yourself, you should put in love for doing good deeds, because, see, if you don't have love for doing good deeds, and you just do those good deeds, your intention will not be for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It would not be pure, and therefore your good deeds would be meaningless. Now, I'll mention another narration of Imam Ali, where he says, your nafs is like a wild horse. Train it so that you can ride upon it. See, when you ride upon a trained horse, it'll take you where you want to go. But when you ride upon a wild horse, no matter what you do, the horse goes where it wants to go. So in the same way, when we do good deeds, and if our soul is not trained, if our nafs is not trained, if it's like a wild horse, then no matter what good deeds we do, our intentions will get mixed up and our deeds will be meaningless. But if we train ourselves to do these good deeds with love, if we train our nafs, then it will be a tame horse, and we can ride upon it easily. So now, showing kindness to someone is an example of goodness. It is goodness, in fact. Now, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Rahman, Hal jaza'ul ihsan illa al-ihsan. This literally means that, is there any reward for good other than good? This shows how much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in favor of goodness, because Allah wants us to keep doing good. Now, as we mentioned before, that we have to instill in ourselves the attributes of Allah to get closer to Him. So in the same way, this is one of the attributes of Allah. This is one of His qualities, that He does good even those who wrong Him. See, let's take an example. we have a person who sins and a believer, will Allah decrease His blessings, the blessings He gives towards the sinner? Obviously not, because Allah loves His creation more than a mother loves her child. The same way, He will treat everyone the same. Obviously, if you do good, then He will reward you. But other than that, He will give usual blessings to everyone. So, I'm quoting Imam Ali and Imam Hussein, both of them having said, "Do to others what you would like done for yourselves." Now, here they're saying that, okay, what would you like others to do for you? Would you like them to do good? Obviously, yes. And would you like them to do bad? No, because so in the same way, you should treat others the same way you want to be treated. You treat others nicely. So in all the previous du'as, we ask Allah, "Oh Allah, give me mercy even if I'm not worthy of it." Now here, we're saying, "Oh Allah, please make me worthy of all this mercy," because we want to become worthy. So we're asking Allah, make us worthy by making us noble. So note here that we're not just asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, "Oh Allah, allow me to do good deeds." No, we're saying, "Oh Allah, make me noble." Now, when we say make me noble, we say make our heart, give us love in our hearts for doing good deeds. See, we're asking Allah to change our intentions. Now, see, the topic of intentions once again comes up here, that no matter what good deeds you do, it's your intention that counts. So if you do good deeds with love, it'll have more value than good deeds that are forced. So that's what we're asking for. The second line, we say, "And make abhorrent for me wickedness and disobedience on this day." We'll get back to it after a short break.
ليلة القدر يا فضل بارينا خير من ليلة القدر يا فضل بارينا خير من.
Welcome back to the Daily Ramadan Show, where we discuss the daily du'as to be recited in this holy month of blessings, mercy, and forgiveness. Until now, we have discussed the first line of the 11th du'a, where we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring in our hearts love for doing good. Now here, now we're going to discuss the second line, "And make abhorrent for me wickedness and disobedience on this day." So like in the previous line, we asked Allah, make us noble. So here we're asking Allah, make sure that we are noble. Yeah, we don't want to do things that are not noble. So in the previous line, we asked Allah, bring for us love for doing good. So here we're asking Allah, bring for us hate and disgust for sinning. Now, so you know how the feeling of disgust is? If you don't, let me give you an example. I'm sure you felt the feeling of disgust. Let's say you get sick and you vomit. Do you enjoy vomiting? Obviously not. You're clearly disgusted by vomiting. Yeah? So in the same way, you're asking Allah to give you the same feeling of disgust for sinning. Now, as I've mentioned before, when you're sinning, when you break the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have two consequences. Number one, we have the consequence of it being a punishment, of there being a punishment. And number two, we have the consequence of it affecting yourself, affecting your character. Take an example of a piece of paper. Now, fold it. Fold it into, fold it as many times as you like. Now, unfold it. And you'll see that now there's so many lines and everything. There's so many lines, and that even if you try to smooth out these lines, they won't vanish. So in the same way, your soul, see, you sin, okay, you sin even a bit, and now that even if you try to repent, the marks will still be there. The effect will still be there of you sinning. But obviously, if you repent hard enough, then and you ask Allah, oh Allah, please, erase the trace of my sins, then He'll possibly do that for you. Now, this is a very you should be careful that you don't damage your soul. Now, let me give you an example that you can relate to. Let's take an example of a car. When you grow older, you'll get a car, right? So would you want to damage your car? Would you want to take a hammer and just make a dent and just hammer on the car, making a dent in it? Obviously not. You take care of it. Now let's give you another example that's close to the age group. A phone. For those of you who have phones, who don't have phones, when you get a new phone, would you want to destroy it? Would you want scratches on it? Of course not. You take care of these things with your life. Now, look at the ridiculousness of this. You take care of something that is temporary, something that would either go out of style, something that you'd either get tired of, or something that would just break down one day. But you don't care about that which you are going to use for the rest of your life. You don't care about that which you have only one of. See, you have only one soul that is going to be with you for the rest of your life. So basically what I'm trying to say is that, okay, let's give you another example. A knowledgeable person, yeah, would he harm his body, like let's say make a cut in his skin and then not treat it? Obviously not. A knowledgeable person would go to the doctor, yeah, if he's sick, etc. So you have to take care of your soul the same way you're taking care of your other things. Actually, you should take care of your soul even more than you take care of all these temporary things. So we'll discuss now the third line: and prevent me on this day from exposing myself to your wrath and fire. So basically here we're asking Allah, oh Allah, prevent us from reaching the stage where we're open to your punishment and your anger. Now obviously Allah will not get angry with us or punish us for no reason. Yeah, there's something that we do that triggers it. Now what is this? This is when we sin. This is when we do wrong. So we're basically asking Him, oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, help me avoid sins so that I avoid your anger and your punishment. Now the fourth line, we say, out of your help, O the aid of the seekers of aid. So here we ask Allah to help us out of His help. We ask Him to help us out of His unlimited mercy. See, we mentioned out of His help because we have to have in the back of our mind that Allah, no matter how much we ask for His help, no matter how much of His help that He gives to us, His status will never waver. He will never have less mercy or less help to give us, because for Him, giving us a chunk of His help is nothing, but for us it's going to be a really big deal. So you should keep that in mind when you're saying this line. And we should also consider here that Allah is the one who helps those in need. When a needy person, who else does he have except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Mu'min verse 60 in the Holy Quran says, and your Lord says, call upon me, I will respond to you. وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمُ ادْعُونِي فَاسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. So look at what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying here. He's saying this, and call me, I will respond to you, in such a way that He's showing that He is the one who really wants you to call Him. He's so loving. He wants you to benefit from calling Him and asking for help. Yeah. So but keep in mind that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not need you to do this. He's just so loving that He wants you to do this. He does not need. He's needless. You say this even more than 5 times a day, but you clearly do not understand it, that you not realize that you say this more than 5 times a day. In Surah Tawheed, Allahu Samad, Allah is needless. So start understanding whatever you're saying in namaz. Now, so when you're saying this line, Keep in mind that this is a favor from God, that He is ever ready to help us whenever we need help. Now that we understand this dua, I'll recite in Arabic. First, let's just review a bit on it. In the first line, we asked Allah to bring in us love for doing good, to bring in us nobility. The second line, we asked Allah for disgust for doing bad, so that if we do bad, we get disgusted by it. In the third line, we asked Allah, "Oh Allah, I want to avoid your punishment." And in the fourth line, we recognized Allah's help and how He helps anyone who calls out to Him. Now I'll recite the Arabic. Allahumma habbib ilayya fihi al-ihsan, wa karrih ilayha fihi al-fusuqa wal-isyan, wa harrama alayya fi sakhatika wan-niran, bi'aunika ya ghiyas al-mustaghithin. So, thank you for watching the Ramadan show on IBN TV. May Allah grant us all the tawfiq and the strength to instill all these values in our lives. Ameen. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, with the next dua. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.